What is my morning routine? Driven Mofos, welcome back to another episode of The Underestimated Entrepreneur. I got asked last week, what is my morning routine? Now, you probably heard me talk about morning routines before. I'm cautious, okay? The reason why I'm cautious is because I don't suggest that you follow my morning routine. I don't suggest that you follow anyone's morning routine. What I suggest is that you figure out your own morning routine. Now, I'm going to tell you what my morning routine is, but I don't suggest that you follow it exactly. I suggest that you try things until you figure out what works for you, because you're a unique individual and you need to be treated as such. Part of the reason why my programs are so different than what's normally taught is because I don't believe in telling people how I live life and that you should do what I do. Because we all have our individual value structure, we have an individual mission, we have an individual purpose, we have visions, and we have our own goals, right? And we have our own past experiences and our influences epigenetically and genetically. So that doesn't mean that you can't learn off of other people and adapt and figure your own stuff out. This is why my event, Thrive Time, is probably the greatest thing that you'll ever do. Because when you understand how to build your own individual success map, you'll create the right morning routine for you based on those key metrics or those key things. Now, what normally happens, right, is that when people listen to morning routine, someone says, I meditate. And you go, wow, I'm going to try meditation. So you'll go to try to meditate and then your mind will go fucking ballistic. I don't know if you've ever had that happen, but you sit there and you start meditating, your mind wanders everywhere, shit goes crazy. And you end up sitting there for, let's say, to a 30-minute meditation. You're more stressed out after the meditation than what you were before because it's the wrong thing for you at the wrong time, right? It's the wrong tool. What you need to do is the first thing that you need to do if you want to build a morning routine is understand the clarity of your values, your purpose, your mission, and your vision in life. Because that is going to dictate how you are going to best operate in your mornings and how you're going to best feel fulfilled. There's no point doing shit in life if you're not fulfilled. Like, I don't understand all these fucking people out there that say shit like, in order to be successful, this is what you need to do. Because they're not saying that you need to do that to become successful. They're saying what I did is this stuff and it made me successful. Now, if I say that to 8 billion people, you essentially have people with different upbringings, different belief systems, different religions, different ideologies, different genetics, different epigenetics, different diets, different value structures, different environments that they're in. There is so many factors. And that's why someone says meditation is important. You try to meditate and you're like, shit, this isn't working for me. There must be something wrong with me. The thing that is wrong with you is that you're trying to do shit in the way that other people do things instead of finding your own craft, your own way. That is why your success map is the greatest gift you'll ever give yourself. And if you really want to be successful, that's the way you're going to do it. Because if you want to achieve greater success, you have to understand what fulfillment is. Because anything that you do that you're going to be successful in, you're going to have to do over an extended period of time. Now, I love exercising. I love training. I don't love it when I have to do it. Like in the morning, sometimes when I go train, my brain's like, dude, just rest. You got the morning off. Don't worry about it. And then I'm like, nope, get in there. So I still have that, but overall, I love it. I love working. You know, when I meet people and they're like, oh man, I can't wait for weekends and public holidays. And I'm like, man, I couldn't. I would rather not have any public holidays. I would rather work every hour that I'm awake. Why? Because I've set my life up in a way that I build a business where I can do what I love to do. Most people don't set their life up effectively because they don't have a success map. They don't understand what they're trying to achieve. So what they look for is they look for happiness and emotional states instead of looking for what really fulfills them. Happiness isn't the same as fulfillment. Fulfillment is, I do this. So I train because I love training. That's why I do it. It doesn't make me happy. It doesn't make me unhappy. It gives me both. Training sucks, but it's also enjoyable. True inspiration and true love and what you're really grateful for has both sides. I love my wife. She's amazing. Jess is fucking the most awesome person I've ever met. But the thing is, she annoys the shit out of me as well. So that's real love. Love is that you get both sides. She's the most inspiring person I've ever met, but yeah, she annoys me. She frustrates me. She gets the best out of me. She gets the worst out of me. She gets everything, but that's true love. Your kids are going to be your dream and your nightmare at the same time. That's called love. So when you have that, you do it because it's what you do. So if you're a parent and you love your kids, you're like, I just get up because that's what I do. It's not I have to get up, because you don't have to get up. You just get up because you've got kids and you love being a parent. So you do that. You love being a dad or you love being a mum. When you live like that, you set your life up right. And that's where you start winning. So fulfillment creates success. If you're unfulfilled, you're never going to be successful. So when people work their ass off in order to try to achieve money, but they don't like the job that they're doing or they don't like the shit that they're doing, they're never going to be successful. And everything that we do creates habits. So if we have a habit that's like, oh, I'm making money and I'm working so hard so that I can retire, your whole life is dog shit. Your life is shit and you're training yourself to do shit things so that you can escape. I had a chat with a client yesterday, business owner, financially successful. And he said to me, I work really, really hard so that I don't have to work. And I was like, you don't enjoy your business? And he's like, what do you mean? And I said, well, if you're working hard so that you don't have to work, you don't actually enjoy the work. I work because I love to work, but I also love to rest. I love to hang around the right people. I love to do what I do. I love to travel. I love to do this stuff. So I just set my life up with stuff that I love. I don't do things that I don't love. I don't hang out with people that I don't enjoy hanging out with. I don't have customers that I don't like, because if I don't like them, I just say, here's your money, go away. It's not that hard to do. It's just you set it up wrong. Now, because I've created a habit of doing that, decisions are a lot easier. So when someone says, do you want to come out on the weekend and get pissed? I'm like, no, I'm good. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm working. And they're like, man, you work too much. You need to have a rest. And I'm like, no, motherfucker, you need to have a rest. You need to have a rest because you set your life up shit. I didn't set my life up shit. I set my life up the way I wanted it to. It took me 10 years to build it, but now I have it. Life's sweet. Most people just don't get it. That's why your success map is so important. But now let's come back to morning routine. So here is what I do. Now, this is for me. This is my disclaimer. You don't have to follow me. I don't recommend you do. I recommend you get right with your success map and you build your morning routine around your values, around your mission, around what you're here to do in life, because that's your greatest gift to the world. And that's the greatest gift that you can give yourself. When you do that, you'll be fulfilled and you'll always be successful, because it doesn't matter how much money you make. You're not working to make money. You're working because it's what you love to do. And should you make enough money to keep doing that, you'll fucking crush it. I've worked with people before who come into my office and they make 10 times the amount that I do. And their life is 100 times worse. And they hate it. Why? Because they set it up wrong. Now, they needed some tweaks and some adjustments. And when they do it, they start loving life. They enjoy what they're doing. So my recommendation is create the habit of doing things that fulfill you in life, that you're driven to do, that both push you and reward you at the same time, and you'll crush it. So the first thing that I do is normally my alarm goes off and I hop straight out of bed. Sometimes I'm a bit lazy and I sleep in and things like that, but most of the time I get up at the moment at 5 o'clock in the morning. And that's a test. It's a pain in the ass, but I just get up at 5 o'clock. Last night, I think I got about 6 hours sleep. The night before I had 7 hours. The night before that, I had, I think, 3. Now the 3-hour night sucked, but I just reminded myself that if I get out of bed and I force myself to get up at that time, the rest of the week's going to be easy, because if I can do the hardest shit in my life, which is getting out of bed, on 3 hours sleep, and I can do that effectively, I can do other shit as well that is important to me. So it's not that I have to do it. I can get out of bed at 10 o'clock in the morning should I choose to. But what I noticed was that when I was doing that, I was training myself to be lazy and to do things based on how I feel, not based on my mission. So I get out of bed and I do it because it's hard. It's self-created adversity. If you don't create your adversity, life will force it upon you. So 5 o'clock, I get out of bed. I walk downstairs, I grab my coffee, I put up my post. Now, normally my first post in the morning, if you follow me on Instagram, is my coffee post. That is my start of the day post on social media. So then I know what I'm posting each day. Then from there, after I do that, I then put up my success post of the day on Instagram. I do that. I walk across to my kitchen table, which is in my lounge room sort of thing, or the table in my lounge room. I sit there and I normally have my notepad out, my pens and everything. I normally do it before I go to bed, and my journal. Then what I do is I grab it. I write down the things that I'm grateful for. So I write down a bunch of things that I feel grateful for in my life until I feel grateful. I don't just write them down. I have to feel it, because thoughts create feelings and feelings create action. So I want to feel it, not just think it. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm grateful for this and I've got kids and that's not gratitude. Gratitude is, I love both the challenge and the support that I get. These things push me to be better. And because I worked hard for them, I'm so grateful that they happened. So this morning, I did my morning routine partially with Jess, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So one of my gratitude was that I was just lying in bed and she sort of rolled over and gave me a cuddle. She just put her arm around me and put her little foot on my foot. And in that moment, I was just like, this moment is special. And I love those moments. I look for them throughout the day, whether it's a hug, whether it's a touch, whether it's just something that a client says. I'm always looking for things to be grateful for throughout my day in those little moments. Because when people say, oh, I'm grateful, you're not grateful. We're humans. We have all these different emotions. Don't be caught by the frauds in the personal development industry. When someone talks and they're like, I'm wise, it's like, no, you're not. No one's wise. We have moments of wisdom and we also have moments of stupidity. I fuck shit up all the time and I look at myself and I'm like, dude, what did you do? Fuck. Oh, and I know that I'm stupid in that moment. I do stupid shit all the time. But I'm not stupid. I just have moments of stupidity. Just like I'm not grateful, I have moments of gratitude. Just like I have moments of happiness and unhappiness. I tend not to focus on those emotions though. But gratitude is a feeling, it's not an emotion. It's a centeredness. So when I'm centered and I have those moments and I feel love, gratitude, wisdom, inspiration, and peace all in the same moments, I know that that's a moment. That's why you've also got to be careful of all the spiritual gurus who talk about inner peace. Because they're trying to convince people that you can always have inner peace and you can't. You will have times in your own mind of peace and you'll have times in your own mind of war. And if people actually go and study the great mystics, they talk about this stuff. The problem is some guru heard it from another guru who heard it from another guru, and it's got passed down like Chinese whispers for the last 1,000 years. And then all of a sudden people say stupid shit that makes no sense. That's why I go and study the great philosophers and the great mystics. Because when you read their proper work, they talk about having peace and war and that they're the same thing. Right? War normally creates growth. Peace normally creates, us to become stagnant. So we need to have moments of both. I have internal peace sometimes and I have internal war. Most of the time though, if I'm just effective and I'm doing what I love, my mind is clear. So I write down things that I'm grateful for until I feel grateful for the life that I have. Now, if you're starting with not much and you're doing gratitudes, you've got to look for those little moments. So that moment with Jess where she just rolls over and gives me a cuddle, I'm like, wow, this is just that moment. Last night I went out for dinner with one of my clients. Now that client just re-signed up to come and do our business program, our Business Odyssey mastermind. He's been in for 2 years, I think. He's grown shitloads. He came and picked me up in his new Porsche. Like, it was sick. When he first started with us, he didn't have any of that stuff. But he learned to appreciate life more. And the more he appreciated life, the more money he made. And the more money he made, the more he was able to buy stuff that he appreciated. Things that appreciate go up in value. So the more he appreciated the things that he had, the more he became appreciative. And the more he appreciated things, the more value he created. The more value he created, the more money he made. And the more money he made, the more he could appreciate things. And so he was in an appreciation cycle. The opposite of that is a depreciating cycle. So anyway, last night when we were out for dinner, he was telling me about some of his growth. I remember the moment. We were sitting there and I was having a water with him and we were looking over the lake near my house. And in that moment, I was like, wow, there's a wow moment. Like, I'm so lucky to work with amazing people like this who trust me, who want to grow and who made the decision to grow. This guy wasn't really a growth-driven person before I met him. He sort of was, but not really. Now he loves it. Like, he loves personal development. He loves personal growth. He's probably listening to this podcast. So they're the things that I look for every day. So I write down my gratitudes until I feel them. The next thing that I do is I write down my big goals. So one of my big goals is to be on some of the top podcasts on the planet. And I close my eyes and I feel them. When I feel them, I start writing them down. So I'm sitting with this person. I've walked into their studio and I shook their hand. I feel myself in that moment, like I've already achieved it. I know that our business is a global enterprise and I can see it. I can visualize it. Because I have that vision, I write it down. And so I just keep writing those things. Jess and I are flying overseas in business class. I can see it in my head and we're headed to the US so that I can go and speak and do more engagements. The more I keep thinking about this stuff, the more it amps me up and I'm like, cool, I'm ready for the day. And my energy it amps up. It's not erratic energy, but it's like, right, I got shit to do today. Let's go. So the gratitude makes me feel centered and stable. The next thing is the big goals that I have in the future. Now, because I've got my success map, I already know what I'm trying to achieve. It's just I'm writing those things down, those big goals to keep reminding myself every day. My energy then amps up. So I'm ready and pumped for the day. Then what I will do is I will write down my key objectives and outcomes for the day. Okay, so what are the 3 to 5 key things that I'm going to achieve today? Outcomes, not tasks, outcomes. Then from there, I will normally do, Tony Robbins has something called priming. I do something similar to that. Now, in the morning, if Jess is awake, I will normally do it with her. So both her and I together, we will do the priming exercise, which is sort of, you do breathing, you do gratitudes, and then again, you see those goals and you visualize them. And so then I envision it and I do that with her. Then I normally hop into the shower and I start my day. That's sort of my morning routine. The other thing that I'll do is I normally try to move in the morning. So I will have a gym session after that. So I'll go and train pretty hard. When I'm training, I'm normally watching either a training, or it could be a course. I will have something on in the background which is making me inspired. I love listening to YouTube videos or YouTube clips. I'll listen to podcasts. I listen to books. I'll do that when I train. Now, some people don't like that because they like music. What I've found though is that music is great. I love listening to music. But I would rather train my brain to be better and to be more inspired through learning than to be inspired by music. I love music though. So some days I listen to music, but the majority of the time I listen to books, audios, YouTubes. If you don't follow me on YouTube, go to Michael Mojo 00 on YouTube. Check out our YouTube channel. There's trainings on there. You know, I drop extra bonus content on there. Go on, make sure you follow and subscribe on there. But I will do that. Then after that, I set my day up and I'm ready to rock and roll. Okay. And then normally I'm ready for team meetings or things like that. Or like this morning, I'm doing a podcast. So these are the things that you really want to think about. But I structure my day in the way that I enjoy. You have to structure your day that's important to you. Now, if you have kids, you might wake up at say 5 o'clock in the morning or even 4:30. You hop up, you get straight out of bed when the alarm goes on because you're training yourself. You're training yourself to be lazy or you're training yourself to be effective. It took me a long, long time to learn this. I've only just learned it in the last couple of months. Alarm goes off, get out of bed. And it's hard, but that's what I do. I do hard shit because I enjoy it. It makes me better. So I hop out of bed. This person then might go to the gym. They might go to the gym before their partner wakes up and the kids wake up. Then they get home, they spend time with their partner, they spend time with their kids, or they drop their kids off at school and then they set their day up. It's up to you. You have to figure out what works for you. You can try different things. But I don't recommend following blindly in everybody else's path. Try things. Give it a shot. See how you go. That's my morning routine anyway. If anyone has any questions, jump across to Instagram, Michael Mojo 00 on Instagram. You'll see me there. I got the blue check mark. There's a bunch of fakes and all of that sort of shit on there. Just be careful. Mine has the blue check mark, so you'll know it. Hit me up. If you've got any questions, just jump across onto Instagram and ask me. Or if you're part of the Dominate program, the monthly program where I do weekly coaching calls and all that, if you're part of Dominate, make sure you ask the questions in the coaching calls. I'm more than happy to help you to discover what your morning routine is as well. Anyway, Driven Mofos, have a great day. Keep kicking ass. And I look forward to you joining me back here once again for another episode of The Underestimated Entrepreneur. Most people waste their life, and I just don't want you to be one of them.